Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been studying this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people in Africa. And in this podcast, I will share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success in Africa. Why this podcast? Because I am sick and tired of Africa being the poorest continent in the world. We are blessed with the greatest resource, that is young people. Africa will soon have the largest number of working age people in the world. And when these people achieve success, watch out. Africa's wealth will be unparalleled because there are almost no Africans alive today whose goal in life it is to die poor. You see, success in life is simply the achievement of a predetermined goal, whether that goal is owning a house and a car or creating employment for 5,000 people or transforming your community into a high-income community. This podcast has been created to help you to achieve it. So if you are serious about achieving success in Africa, I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you like this video after you have watched it, please click the like button. This episode is brought to you courtesy of VUCA Leadership, the largest leadership enhancement company in Africa. If you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, just log on to VUCA Online, the link is on the screen, and post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. I want to share with you a few changes, especially for our regular listeners, that you will notice this year. Instead of a monthly focus on areas like entrepreneurship, nonprofits, corporate governance, public sector, etc., this year I will use quarterly themes to guide the choice of topics and stories that I will share with you. Another change that you will experience is that for some of the episodes, I will bring on the people whose stories I have told you about and interview them right here on this podcast. These interviews will probably last longer than 20 minutes, which is the usual duration limit of our episodes. So we may edit the interviews into 2 or more episodes and then share them with you. These changes are in response to feedback that we have received from you, our listeners. So this quarter, the theme that will guide my choice of topics and people is VUCA. VUCA stands for V, volatility, U, uncertainty, C, complexity, and A, ambiguity. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Situations that are described as VUCA are situations that are difficult to analyze, respond to, or plan for. And these are the kinds of situations that we are going to explore for the first quarter of 2025. The successful African whose story we will learn about today is a prime example of someone who has learned to thrive in a VUCA environment. In fact, her favorite advice for entrepreneurs is that every entrepreneur should be ready to readjust, recalibrate, and relaunch. She's passionate about business and about developing entrepreneurs because for her, entrepreneurship was the means by which she paid for her own education, university education, despite living in a society in which entrepreneurship is frankly looked down upon. This remarkable lady hails from Namibia. Her name is Twapewa Kadhikwa. She is the founder of KGC, otherwise known as the Kadhikwa Group of companies. KGC has interests in several sectors, including consumer goods, agribusiness, hospitality, training, real estate, and cosmetics. Kadhikwa's entrepreneurship journey started out like many other Africans, out of sheer necessity. She was a second-year university student at the University of Namibia when her dad started to struggle to keep up with her tuition fees. She took up a weekend job as an assistant hairdresser at a hair salon, and before long, she became known as the hairdresser who has natural oils from her village to boost hair growth. After hours, she went from house to house, knocking on doors to see if anyone needed their hair done for Sunday church or a memorial service. Thank God that there were more people in Namibia with more hair than I have. So, all of this work that she did, her proactivity and initiative, and the recognition that she had of the needs of paying clients led her to have a steady stream of clients who requested her services. And during her third year, she asked her father not to pay for her tuition fees anymore. Can you imagine that? The old man was surprised and thought, Kadhikwa is dropping out of school. But his daughter told him, he said, no, I'm not dropping out. But I have made enough money from my work to be able to pay my own fees. Can you believe that? A year after graduating from university, Kadhikwa already had enough of her own clients to establish her own salon in a rented house. Interestingly enough, the same friends and family who applauded her for being innovative and hardworking to be able to pay her own way through college wanted her to drop her business and find a corporate job as an employee after graduation. They did not realize that Kadhikwa had found her calling. She attended a training course in South Africa to learn how to make cosmetics and was provided with some raw materials needed for production. She had already found success with her use of the oil extracted from the marula tree, which grows abundantly in northern Namibia. So Kadhikwa now leveraged her training in the cosmetics production to produce a range of cosmetics products, including moisturizer, hair braid spray, petroleum jelly, all made with marula and mongongo oil. She branded the products under the name Pewa, taken from the last part of her first name. And they were a hit with clients. She even exported some of her products, and before long, she was able to buy the very building that she had originally rented. The marula oil that made Kadhikwa successful in hair planting and in cosmetics production was also partly responsible for her opening her next line of business, restaurants. Marula is a food-grade product and has many health benefits. Kadhikwa and her husband realized that there were very few traditional restaurants around Windhoek, and any that existed, frankly, served food that did not look or feel hygienic. Middle and upper class people would not be comfortable eating in those environments. Kadhikwa saw an opportunity to create an upscale restaurant that serves local foods at a world-class level of service and hygiene. She named the restaurant Kwama, and before long, customers were flocking to this restaurant. Fortunately or unfortunately, the demand for Kwama exposed Kadhikwa to a whole new set of problems. Talk about VUCA, volatility, uncertainty. Her supply chain started to creak under the pressure of the demand for local chicken. You see, at Kwama restaurant, they served this thing called village chicken or local chicken, and it was very popular with the clientele. However, the availability of this local chicken was erratic, And Kwama's founders, Kadhikwa and her husband, were soon finding themselves in the uncomfortable position of sometimes having to disappoint their clientele. They searched for a reliable chicken farm and farmer to get a regular supply. And when this failed, they decided, well, let's go into chicken farming ourselves. And so Kadhikwa Chicken Farming was born. The farm now operates at full capacity of 8,000 birds and supplies the Kwama restaurant as well as some of the supermarkets in Windhoek. And it exports local chicken. The journey, though, to creating this large chicken farm was fraught with painful learning experiences for Kadhikwa and her husband, including learning about disease and learning about and how to deal with the loss of an entire flock of birds. However, through all of this, Kadhikwa and her husband were always open to learning and researching, and they found solutions to every single problem they faced in running this business, the chicken farm, as well as their other businesses. And those solutions they found by doing research, both formal and informal, asking questions, reading about the business, educating themselves, learning from others in other countries as well as in Namibia. These people are voracious learners. Today, Kadhikwa's various businesses are all incorporated under the umbrella company called KGC Kadhikwa Group of Companies. They employ over 200 people, and Kadhikwa herself continues to be passionate about entrepreneurship and creating more entrepreneurs. She desires to advance the culture of entrepreneurship in Namibia and in Africa, and freely shares her learnings and lessons with other budding entrepreneurs who have dreams of success. Sounds familiar? She has learned that to be successful in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, one has to be ready to adjust constantly, recalibrate oneself and one's business, and to retool and relaunch oneself to keep up with the changing demands of the marketplace. She advises herself and other entrepreneurs to stay focused on solutions and recognize that every problem has more than one solution. She declines to get married to her business, and she ensures that she hires smart and dedicated people to help her with running her business. Ultimately, she says that for her, the courage to press on despite fear has been her superpower. Fear does not hold her back. Passion propels her forward, and financial freedom is her goal. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from the journey of Twapewa Kadhikwa and the Kadhikwa Group of Companies. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video. Tell your friends about it, because together we are going to transform our beloved continent of Africa. See you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.